And look, I'm glad you brought it up because step parents are play such an integral role, not only in our happy divorce, but in any relationship. And when Nikki and I were doing this thing, we were bicycle with just two wheels, and we were moving along. And sometimes we would get a little flat, and we'd pump it up, and we'd and then we became a car, and all four of those wheels have to work. And we were, you said it, the wrong partner. And I say it too, and it doesn't sound right, but they have to buy into what we were doing. They had to be committed to what we were doing just as we were. And I was so committed to it that I would, as much as I love my wife, I think that I wouldn't, if I had felt that she was going to be a cog in the wheel, if you will, I don't think I would have moved forward with it. And I don't think that Nikki would have either. And Chad understood that. No, Chad, we knew Chad while we were married. And then they started dating like a year after we got divorced. And so all this, like, what's best for Asher, and we're going to do this, like, I got a test right out of the gate. Like, here's this guy who is now, around my son, and that's a direct hit to ego. And not only is it any man, but I knew him. So I'm trying to, convince myself that what's best for Asher, and he would. A perfect example is we were at a baseball game. Asher's baseball game. I was a coach, and after the game, Asher ran over and gave Chad a big hug, and I walked over slowly, and it was like I'm walking. It was like it was a movie, slow motion. Like, okay, what's best for Asher? What's best for Asher? What's best for? And I go over there and I put on, a big boy, put on my big boy pants, put on a smile, say hi to Chad, give him a hug, try to pretend like everything's normal. Meanwhile, my insides are getting torn apart. But fast forward about 2 years, 3 years, he calls me and asks me to coffee. And we ironically go to the same coffee shop where Nikki and I, sort of sat at the same exact table. And he apologized to me for any, misconception, or that he, moved in or anything, and that he loves Nikki. He loves my son. And then he asked me if it was okay if he was going to ask Nikki to marry him. And he asked me for permission. And despite, my trying to convince him not to do it, and he was going to do it anyways. But it's sort of just like reemphasize, like, this guy understands that I am now willing to open up my, part of my parenting, part of my father duties to this man. And that's what it's about is, Chad says those things. And yeah, it's a little, even today, if I'm honest, it's a little uncomfortable to hear another man talking about being a father to your son. And this is 13 years later, a book, a happy divorce, dinners once a week with this guy. But it's still, the first is like, ooh, but that's right. That's what I want. That's what's best for Asher. So, and then on Nadia, a great story about Nadia and Nikki is Nikki had asked me from the beginning that before I introduced anybody to Asher, that make sure I was sure that, at least as sure as you could be, that it was serious, because she knew that I was going to go out and sow my wild oats and I wasn't going to settle down. And, she didn't want me introducing Asher to Mercedes or Diamond or, whatever. So, and I did, and I was not, I was, sowing my wild oats, I guess, and dating women and being a single guy. And when she asked me that, my, ego would have said, who are you to tell me who I can and can't bring around my son? But 2 + 2 = 4. And what's best for Asher would be for me not to have a revolving door of women come in and out of his life. Because he's already sort of getting this. I don't want him to get another story about relationships not working or whatever. So I didn't. And finally, I'd been dating Nadia about a year. And I didn't bring, she hadn't met Asher yet. She wasn't pushing, which sort of made me understand that she understood what we were trying to do. I don't know if that made sense. But it was Asher one night. He was at my house. I had introduced Asher to Nadia. And Nikki always would talk, be on the phone and say goodnight to Asher. And Asher had the phone. He goes, Mom, have you met Nadia? And Nikki goes, no, I've heard a lot about her. I can't, I hope to meet her soon. He goes, here, talk to her. And he handed the phone to Nikki. And this is the first time they talked. I mean, Nikki knew who Nadia was, but it was Asher's like 5-6-year-old way of saying, it's time.